It's just an offer. Just an offer.
Yeah, because MBM could not. And actually, you did. One
I
thing
just applied for a loan. There's no guarantee the bank will say yes.
Well, that's fine. You can point that out. But the other thing I noticed when Perodua hasn't had a major shareholder like ever.
That's right.
Right?
I mean, UMW has been there since 1993. That's 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And even they only had 38%, which makes them the largest shareholder. So, by implication, it seems like Perodua's direction since then, up to now, has always been via shareholder consensus and discussion. So, if UMW's offer is accepted by the Met Bhumika Mara side,
Who's, of course, behind MBM, right?
yes.
And it's still up in the air, right,
Exactly.
at this point?
Yeah, up in the air, very much so.
Yeah.
So it would mark a very big change in our auto landscape because our other national car maker may finally have a majority shareholder for the first time.
What does it mean, though, when you have somebody who's like the majority shareholder, then it's very much one person's vision?
I guess you can say that in a way because if you have a majority control, then you obviously have a lot of say in terms of where that company is going, as opposed to where you don't have a clear majority shareholder, then it's by consensus, and you have to juggle everyone's interests, right?
Yeah, that's quite true. So you talked to UMW's chief, which is, of course, Badrul Faisal, and did he give you indication as to why now? Because like you said, they've been there for like ages. I mean, like, why suddenly now do they feel that they kind of like need to be in the more presence, especially since his excuse that he gives is that they're cleaned up oil and gas, but they're still cleaning up oil and gas.
That's exactly one of the big questions in the air when we spoke to him last week. And according to him, one, Perodua has been on their minds for a while, but as you said, they're cleaning up their issues with oil and gas. They demerged UMW Oil and Gas last year, but of course they still have some unlisted oil and gas investments that they're trying to get rid of. But as of now, they say everything has been fully written down. There will be no further hits to their bottom line this year, so they expect to be back in the black.
He's a cleanup guy, isn't he?
Labels are tricky, but he's been focusing on this since he took over in 2015, which is coincidentally their first loss-making year since '98, and they're currently on 3 years straight of being in the red. So this would hopefully be a turnaround year, according to him. Now, as for Perodua, it's been on their minds because once you finish taking care of the oil and gas, you have to look for growth. And being in a principle-driven business, it's really hard to find growth on your own. So
True.
That's one angle. But they also say that it's not just about Perodua, but also about MBM. And analysts agree that MBM's businesses would seem like a good fit for UMW. Of course, how that translates into reality if the offer is accepted remains to be seen.
You actually keep mentioning if the offer is accepted because the one thing you do point out is that even at a 13% premium, they ain't happy. You know, they still think it's worth more. Will they hold out? Will they hold out for a hero?
That's what the analysts are saying because it seems like a good deal for UMW because at the offer price, it values Perodua at about 4.2 billion.
Okay.
But from the MBM shareholders' perspective, their share price aside, fundamentally, analysts think it should be priced higher. Now, how high depends on which analyst you're talking to. But what it comes down to is this: would the MBM shareholders, first the majority shareholder and then the minorities, like the offer enough to accept it? Because while you could argue about the valuation, the fact remains that you don't get this type of offer every day.
That is true. But I think they also took a bit of issue with how they're going to finance it because they want to do a cash call.
Yeah.
Rather than, I mean, the thing is, debt-wise, they're actually okay. 0.38 gearing, over $1 billion in cash, and but now they're going back to the shareholders. And that actually sort of the share price that went up, it actually went down because they don't like cash calls.
Yeah, the market doesn't really like cash calls. I think we know that as a general rule.
Yeah.
Now, the 0.38, that's net gearing. Now, if you look at gross gearing, it's 0.95.
Still below 1. Still below
1, yes, but it's not a level they're comfortable with. So
Alright.
I guess it's whether the glass is half full or half empty. And you have to remember that they just recently got over having a lot of oil and gas debts on their balance sheet, which was taken away by the demerger of UMW Oil and Gas. So they're getting used to this new normal. Now, the reason why they think the cash call is the way forward is because you just got off a lot of debt. You don't really want to increase it so soon, right? And debt-funded acquisition, it carries some risk in terms of financing side as well.
Okay. But ultimately, if you are a person at Perodua and you like Perodua cars, major swivel in like strategy, you think, or UMW is just happy to like, look, ship's running well, let's just build on that?
Now we're going into speculation, and that's really up in the air because you really don't know what will happen till it happens, right?
Okay.
And if you have a majority shareholder for the first time, that may or may not significantly change the direction and tone of Perodua's strategy. And I think if the offer is accepted, we could be looking at a watershed moment for our auto history.
For more on the stories, pick up a copy of The Edge Weekly at all good newsstands.